This is Talking Football with Two Bald Guys. I'm Adam.
I'm Tony.
Tony, I know I've said I was going to play songs that get played at college football stadiums, but that song gets played
a lot.
That gets played at Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't, I don't think, really has a song that they play so much as this song. They play it all the time. I went to a Tennessee game. We've talked about this before when they played Oklahoma. They play it a lot. Why did I play that song, Tony?
Rocky Top from Tennessee, and I love college fight songs.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question in a second, but that's up there with maybe my top 3 favorite college fight songs. Obviously, I like Oklahoma's for obvious reasons. Michigan, Hail Varsity's classic.
Hail to the victor, buddy. But I won't hold that against you.
And I like USC as well. But man, it's hard not to go against Rocky Top. It's just one of the cool songs out there. But you played that because Tennessee took care of business.
They took care of business. They beat Alabama. Last week we talked about Alabama not being a playoff team. They didn't show any reason why we think they're going to be a playoff team. We got a lot of that to talk about here in a minute, but let's go back to this again. This is Talking Football, Two Bald Guys, Adam and Tony. We're part of Elevation 5280 Sports. It's e5280sports.com out of Denver. And we also partner up with Happy Nuts. We've been talking a lot about this.
Happy Nuts.
Happy Nuts. Make your nuts happy. Get some Happy Nuts. The comfort powder has come in handy for me lately after baseball practice and going to my son's soccer games.
It's cooling off down here, but it's still humid out there.
Yeah.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But Happy Nuts, go to our social media, Two Bald Guys podcast, and click on the link. Put in the code Two Bald Guys 20 and get 20% off for creams and sprays and powders for Happy Nuts, and help yourself out down there.
Helps us out, helps them out. We like the partnership. Like you said, Make your nuts happy. Get some Happy Nuts. Tony, I wouldn't call them nuts, but I would call them very happy like we said, in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, for sure.
It's the second time in a row they have won in Knoxville against Alabama. It wasn't the most convincing win in the world, but I tell you what, that defense for Tennessee is playing pretty well. The offense did just enough, and I think they're starting to expose that Jalen Milroe maybe he's not the best quarterback in the world.
Well, and I think that Bama defense is suspect a little bit, which saying that sounds weird because that Bama defense has been so good for so long. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Is there coaching change, and are we seeing the product of that? Now, don't get me wrong, Bama's still a good team, and Jalen Milroe is still a good player. Bama still has talent, but it's not the same Bama we have seen in the previous years. And we're going to give Kalen DeBoer like maybe another year to get some of his guys in. I know they lost a lot, but he still has a lot of talent out there.
I mean, they looked great against Georgia. We talked about this. They looked really, really good against Georgia. And then at the end, they did not so good. And then they just messed around, lost to Vanderbilt. Should have probably lost to South Carolina, and then they lose to Tennessee. And like we said, they still have Ole Miss and LSU and Auburn on their schedule. I mean, I think this is the first time since Nick Saban's first year coaching where they have 2 losses before November.
Yes, I believe I saw that as well. Nick Saban's first year was bad, but then he got his guys in there. And
I think they lost to like Louisiana Monroe or something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
So, that happened. Also, something that happened is Michigan and Oklahoma are just
struggling.
They combined for 16 points.
Yeah. I told you, we've talked about this.
Not in the first half, not in the first quarter for the game.
If they played each other right now, I would take the under, number one. And I don't know who would win. I honestly don't know who would win. I think they're such like the same team. Oklahoma was awful. Did you see any of that first 5 minutes? 5 minutes, the game was over.
I didn't.
5 minutes. Interception. Oklahoma gets the ball, interception, and they go down and score. Okay, game a short field, great, whatever.
Right.
Next play. Fumble. Taken to the house on the fumble. This 14-0 real quick. All right. Next possession. Oklahoma gets the ball. Pick 6. It's 21-zip. It's 10 minutes left in the first quarter. I almost turned away. I did turn away later because it was frustrating to watch it. But their offense was awful.
I was trying to see this tweet and I can't find it right now. I must have missed it. I might have deleted it.
Offensive line is bad.
It said, it literally is funny because it popped up and I almost sent it to you, but it was either during the Oklahoma game or you were doing something else. I didn't want to bug you, but it was like somebody needs to let Michigan and Oklahoma play and punish them for having to watch the quarterbacks play for the two teams right now.
Right.
Because that's how bad it's been.
That's true.
Michigan outgained Illinois.
Yeah.
Had 2 times they were inside the 5 and inside the 10 and didn't score. But it's just like Illinois gave up 49 points to Purdue and a bunch of rushing yards. So guess what Michigan tries to do?
Let's throw the ball.
Pass the ball too
Right.
much. And it just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a coach. I don't know. Listen,
You lost some guys.
we lost a
You
lot.
some
We
guys.
lost a lot. So that part of it, like the fact that Michigan won the national championship makes me feel a little bit better.
Correct.
I can deal with this year. But at the same time, everybody's like, oh, well, Alabama didn't drop off and Georgia doesn't drop off and all these teams don't drop off after they lose the national championship. Well, first of all, Alabama until this year had Nick Saban every year.
Correct.
Georgia still has Kirby Smart, which last time I checked, he's a pretty good coach too. Bama drops off a little bit this year. They have. And guess what?
They are.
Nick Saban. And they didn't lose a quarterback. And they have a monster wide receiver, and they dropped off. So that's a new coach. The new coach matters a little bit to start with. And Michigan lost their starting quarterback, their starting running back, their best receiver, the whole offensive line. I'm not trying to make excuses. They need to be better. But you have to have a little bit of grace. Like the last 3 years have been the best 3 years I've ever had as a Michigan fan. They've lost one regular season game in 3 years.
Right. You can't be complaining a whole lot.
No.
Now, for Oklahoma, like I'm trying to toss up, is it because they moved to the SEC? Because last year wasn't too bad, but we did lose Dylan Gabriel as a quarterback.
Yeah, that matters.
The defense is way better than
it is.
So I am still looking at that and going, that defense is still playing really good and they're good. The offense is so bad though, and I'm just not used to that as an Oklahoma fan with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts out there, and Dylan Gabriel as well. That offense has been just a juggernaut for years, and now it's hard to watch.
I think what fans fail to realize is Alabama being dominant for those 15 years, whatever, is the exception, not the norm.
Correct.
It's not the norm.
They don't get used to
like you think about what Nebraska when they had Tommy Frazier. They were amazing for about a 4-year stretch.
And then they got Scott Frost right after.
And they were good for a little bit, but they dropped off. They weren't as good for 15 years. Right. Even Miami, who might have had one of the best 2-year runs I've ever seen.
Yep.
They weren't great shortly after that.
They fell off.
Like you 15 years in a row that Alabama was or whatever it is not normal. It is not normal.
No, you can't say that.
Georgia is bordering, maybe starting to get that way, but Georgia's still only about year 5 of this.
Right.
2 national championships. They lost out the year before. I think they were in the national championship the year before, or maybe 2 years before that. So we're at about 5 years of Georgia being really, really good. Clemson even had a run, but that was still about 6-7 years.
Yep.
And they've now, well, they might be better.
They're better
but
this year.
They've dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
You think about these teams that have these runs, they don't last.
Yeah, Bama fans been spoiled.
Spoiled. Like even if you had NFL, the Patriots, that was a spoiled. But there was still like a 3 years in the middle there where they didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So like these fans are like, yes, you get to an expectation, but especially with the NIL and all this stuff, if you whiff on a portal quarterback or you whiff on something else, it can turn bad quick. I didn't think Miami was going to be great. Cam Ward comes in, all of a sudden they're okay. Freaking Indiana brings in a coach and O'Rourke or whatever that quarterback, and they're rolling through teams.
He brought a bunch of his James Madison players in, and now they are. Can we talk about Indiana, or do you want to still talk?
We'll talk about it in a minute.
So, but Bama fan, you've been spoiled, and every time you call out Bama fan, because Bama has more losses this year than they're used to, they're always like, "Yeah, but we did this and this and this." Yes, you're going to hold on to those Nick Saban years because those were ridiculous. It's not going to happen again. Bama fan has to come back to reality and realize. Now you're in the mix of it. You're going to lose a couple games every year, and you're not going to be in the title game every single year like you were under Nick Saban. It's just not going to happen.
And it's okay.
And that's fine because nobody does that.
Nobody does that. Even Ohio State, as good as they were in those 10 years, 20 years, where they beat Michigan a lot, they weren't at the top all the time. No, they weren't. They were really close, but they weren't. But then again, I hate Urban Meyer. You know this. We know this. If you listen to us, I hate Urban Meyer. He was a very good football coach, and he had Ohio State at the top. Ryan Day has kind of rode his coattails, and now you're like, I don't know, this $30 million team that he brought in lost to Oregon.
Right.
So
that's the thing. You have Nick Saban is the exception to everything we've seen for the most part. Teams go on 4 or 5 year runs, 5-6 year runs, maybe get in one national championship if they're lucky.
Yeah.
The really good teams get 2, like Georgia, maybe Ohio State had it. But other than that, you're lucky to get 1, and then you're going to wait for 15 more years until it comes back around.
I mean, you think about it. Michigan had the best 3-year run they've had in maybe ever. Maybe if you're going back to the early 1900s. Yep. Georgia was better that first year, just whipped them. Yep. They probably should have beat TCU, and maybe they beat Georgia, and they get a national championship. You know what? Would I've liked them to win 2 or 3 national championships in that trend? Absolutely. Am I happy 1 out of 3? Yes.
Because how long did you
What?
wait? 30 years, almost
30. That was
almost
97. Like
97,
what
yeah.
fan base would outside of Bama and maybe Georgia right now?
Georgia
What
Bama.
fan base would not have taken the 3-year run Michigan just went on?
No, I'll take it.
You'll take
with
it.
a national title.
With a national title.
It's been 24 years.
The exact same run that Michigan had.
Take it.
Which fan base does not take it? Outside of Bama, maybe Georgia.
No, I guarantee you, Ohio State would take it.
Would take it. They haven't won a
Absolutely,
national championship in a while.
Right, they haven't. Oklahoma hasn't won one in 24 years. 2000 was the last one.
Yeah, you take it.
Right.
There's
Miami fan, everybody.
Everybody except for Bama. But now with the way Bama's going, Bama would take that. Georgia, obviously, they've had their
Georgia's
run right
kind of
now.
that run.
Yeah, so those two teams, I think those are the only two teams. Because even LSU, as dominant as they were with Joe Burrow, they dropped off the next year
Right.
because Joe Burrow was gone. And Justin Jefferson, or not Justin Jefferson, was Jefferson? Yeah, Jefferson was with them, I think, right? They were gone.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, that's who it was. It was Jamar Chase. They were gone.
Yeah.
They dropped off. So the 3-year run Michigan's been on was ridiculous.
People don't realize how hard it is to continue to come in, year out, and have a dominant program.
Mhm.
That's why what Nick Saban did was so ridiculous, because it was every single year.
And the problem is now with NIL and transfer portal, you can't just stock up and
sit
keep
on it.
them.
Right. You can't.
You
redshirt
can't
a
do
bunch of
it.
people
You think he has those guys? You think Tua stays
with NIL stuff.
with
now.
NIL and transfer? He might have stayed.
He would've left.
He might have left because he was stuck behind Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Now it worked out that he stayed, but if with Jalen starting in front of him, maybe Tua leaves.
Right.
Maybe not. But nowadays he might have.
Well, and I think Nick Saban, that's probably one of the reasons Nick Saban got out. I know
Absolutely.
he was frustrated with the transfer portal, now with the NIL stuff coming on. He saw it. He saw the problems coming like that. I mean, you look at Texas; they have Arch Manning sitting back there with big NIL deal, and he's waiting his time out.
I mean, if Quinn Ewers were to come back next year, and I don't know if he has a year of eligibility, he's not going to. But if Ewers would come back next year,
Manning transfers,
Manny might transfer. He
has to,
would.
right? He can't
And
sit 3 years.
everybody would take him.
Yeah,
I was talking to
we'll talk about
my
that.
dad about this. The NIL, I have zero problem with kids getting paid if they're selling their jerseys with their numbers on them, their names on it.
Right.
If they're selling a bobblehead with their stuff, if they're selling a game with their stuff in there. I wouldn't even care if they gave a portion of the proceeds for the football games and split it up between the players because they're bringing those people in. I don't care about that stuff. But the others, or if you star in a commercial, or if you're on a billboard, or if you're really doing some work for a company,
Right.
I don't have a problem. But that's not what this is right now. You know what I'm saying? They're getting some of that money from that. I agree.
For sure.
But the money they are getting, the $1 million they're getting, is not for doing anything for these companies.
Booster money.
It's not.
And alumni and all that stuff.
I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I was against it from the get go because you get a lot of these kids get to go to college for free. And I think
Correct.
That was enough and stuff like that. And as somebody with kids that could have played, my oldest daughter could have played some college ball, like for volleyball. Like the volleyball players, they don't get quite as much and stuff like that. But it's the revenue that they don't bring in either. I
Right.
get that. Anyway, but you're right. They're getting money basically like NFL players. We're going to pay you more money, and you come to our school, and then they're just going to sit and wait, I guess, until it's their turn to play,
I mean,
or until another school buys them out.
at the end of the day, they are not pros.
They're not.
They're not pros.
Still not.
They're
going
not.
to college.
They're going to college.
Student
They need to
athletes.
do that. All right. Let's go. We like to do this segment. We've been doing it for a few times here.
Yeah.
True or false?
All right.
Last week we said it was Texas and everybody else. So now I'm going to pose a different question because Georgia, I can't believe what Georgia did to him. True or false? There is no true favorite anymore.
Man, that's a tough one to start out with because what Georgia did in the second half to Alabama made me think, okay, there's that Georgia team that we know,
Mm-hmm.
even though they lost, which they still had a chance to win at the end. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
then what they did to Texas made me think, man, should have Oklahoma and Texas really went to the SEC? Like, the top teams in the SEC are maybe really that much better because I think you agree. Texas, I thought was really they had enough this year.
Yeah.
Georgia just made them look pretty awful. So I'm gonna say true. We don't really have a favorite, even though if you ask me, I'm gonna pick Georgia probably at this point.
Okay.
Even though with the loss in there, because they did that second half come out and play really, really well.
They did. They played really, really well.
To come back from that far down.
I think I'm going to go with no. There's not a true favorite right now. I think, yes, Georgia has proved the thing. Oregon's undefeated. They beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
But has Oregon just been really that convincing to you?
No,
You know what I'm saying?
no.
Penn State's still undefeated. Hell, Army, Navy are undefeated.
Liberty's undefeated.
Liberty's undefeated. Indiana's
Indiana.
undefeated. All those teams.
The Liberty's
I
losing
don't
all
think that there is a true favorite. I thought it was Texas. I really thought it was
of them.
Texas.
We both
I
kind of
thought
agreed on
Texas was going to beat Georgia by double figures. I
Yep.
really did.
Yep.
They didn't. I was shocked at the first half
it. Texas looked
because
lost.
they did. It was
couldn't do
crazy.
anything.
I think they play again is different.
You think
But-
so? I think that Georgia defense is.
But now all of a sudden, like, there's not that team that you're just like, yeah,
No.
like
No.
that's. I mean, if you're going to put money, I would still put on money maybe on Texas or Georgia.
Right.
But do you trust it?
Right. But also, do you think an Indiana can compete with a Texas or Georgia right now? If they played on a neutral site, who's winning those matches?
I mean, I would agree it's
Right.
going to be Georgia,
And
Texas.
even Miami, and I kind of picked Miami this year. I knew they'd be better, and they are. But again, they're not convincing. I'm still probably picking Georgia or Texas in any game. Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State. I still think those are the two best teams out there right now. But yes, I don't think there's a favorite.
All right, true or false? Right now, because you just mentioned neutral field,
Yeah.
Indiana is better than Alabama.
Oh, I knew you were going to say this because I saw a lot of stuff online about this because Indiana fans are coming out of the woodworks.
Oh yeah, they are.
All of a sudden, they're like, "Oh, look at us," and I'm like, "Hold on a second."
Right.
I was looking at their schedule, and I know they beat Nebraska bad, but I still don't understand why people think Nebraska's a good football team. They're just their offense. They scored 14 points against Rutgers for crying out loud. Nebraska's not a good team. I love what Indiana's doing, but their time is up. Like their time is coming. They have Washington, Michigan, and Ohio State coming, and I just think when they run into the big boys, no, they're not better than Bama. Bama absolutely obliterates them.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't
You're
think
buying
they
into
obliterates
it?
them.
Like I'm talking. I think it's 45-10. Like that kind of stuff.
I don't think so.
Really? All right.
Now the only thing that worries me, and I don't know if it worries me because I'm not an Indiana fan, is their quarterback went down. He broke his thumb. I think he had surgery,
Right.
but they said it's encouraging.
Yeah.
They do play
They have
Washington.
They have Washington.
Which Washington, who knows what's up there.
They're up and down.
They beat Michigan and then they get whipped by Iowa. Iowa goes and gets whipped by Michigan State.
Right.
You know what? Make it make sense. I don't know. But and that's the thing. Indiana has not played anybody really. They haven't.
They have it.
Nebraska had a pulse and they destroy them.
Right.
That makes it look like, well, Indiana's looking better than Colorado, right? Because Nebraska beat Colorado 2010.
Colorado's still not
You know
good.
what? I like the story of Indiana because if you had Indiana as part of a playoff conversation
That'd be crazy.
this year, you are nuts. You are nuts.
Crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. I mean, at this point right now, you're talking about Indiana, Army or Navy,
Right.
Iowa State,
Right.
and BYU are all very viable playoff contenders.
Because they all have the potential to win their conference.
All those people.
Yep.
Think about that for a second. Army and Navy are going to
Is
play
that
each
what
other.
you want?
Army and Navy,
No,
yes.
You want
That'd be
You
amazing.
want Iowa. See, that was what I wanted to avoid is Iowa State versus freaking Oregon.
But
in
what
the
if they
first
beat
round.
them?
They can't.
Yes,
I'm
they
telling
can.
You they can.
You're telling me right now, especially if Navy plays Notre Dame. They play Notre Dame right now. If Navy beats Notre Dame and they start doing that, you're telling me you wouldn't like to see Navy go up against like
Bama and
Georgia? That'd be fun.
Oh my gosh, I don't think so.
It'd be fun. You're telling
It
me
would be fun if it was competitive, but
I think it
it's
would
not
be.
fun if it's a boat
that
race.
it's a different team to like
Bro,
you
it's a blowout.
you don't have teams that run that triple option wishbone, whatever they call it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. Yeah, but,
It'd be amazing. You're telling me you don't want to see Navy play one of those teams.
oh man, I don't know. I would have to see it play out, and they would have to convince me that they belong before I'm going to buy into it. Because I still think the Georgias, Bamas, Texas, Oregon's, Ohio States of the world would crush a Navy, a Liberty, an Indiana right now. I really do. I mean, I hope I'm wrong because I want to see competitive.
That would be
It
amazing.
would be amazing, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
All right. True or false? The Big 12 is down to Iowa State and BYU.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think there's anybody else out there. I mean, you can still throw K-State in there, I guess. I mean, do they still even have a chance? Oklahoma State's out of it, but it's BYU's to lose right now, and we didn't see that coming.
No,
at all.
no.
We thought maybe Okie State, Utah with healthy Ken Rising, maybe K-State in there. Kansas has a chance, but Iowa State, BYU, no. Who knew? Who knew?
Right.
But you're right. It's those two. It's those two teams to lose.
True,
Dear Lord.
true or false? You want to take back your playoff picks from the beginning of the year?
Yeah, maybe a few of those. I think we still got a few sitting in there still. But Oklahoma and Michigan, I know we probably had in there.
I had Michigan. I had NC State, completely whiffed on that. I had Arizona, completely whiffed on that. And we had Utah, but we couldn't really see. This was without injuries. The Utah one was injury kind of based.
Because Cameron.
The Arizona's NC State. NC State did lose McCall for a little bit, but they weren't as good as I thought they were going to be in Arizona. It's struggled. Oregon's been there. Obviously, I whipped on Michigan. Like I just thought they would be better.
Right.
I had Ohio State. Clemson though is playing better. Clemson's playing
okay.
better. The group of five, we both said Liberty, which they're still undefeated.
But they're playing right now as we speak on a Tuesday night.
No, this is Wednesday night.
It's Wednesday, jeez. They're losing to Kennesaw State 14-7.
Okay, now, where's it at in the game?
It's I didn't bring my glasses. Almost halftime.
Okay. So, but I think at this point we would agree it's either going to be an Army, Navy, or a Boise State.
I still think Boise, even with the loss to Oregon, can get in. But and here's what I want to see. I think Boise has a good chance to compete in these playoff games because they can run the football, because they have the best running back in the country by far. It's not even close. I think they can compete in there. But again, Boise first round versus an Ohio State or Oregon sounds fun, but I just don't think it would be fun. Although they already played Oregon, so I don't want to see that matchup again. That's a whole nother conversation.
True or false? You thought sometime in your lifetime you would see Indiana, Army, Navy, and Vanderbilt all ranked at the exact same time.
No. And I think someone might have to fact check me, but somebody said that Vanderbilt was like 6 points away from being undefeated or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw somewhere that they were 6 points away from being undefeated.
Vanderbilt is 5-2. Now they do play Texas this week.
Okay, so all right.
So Vanderbilt is 5-2. They lost to Georgia State. That was a bad loss, 36-32, and they lost to Missouri in double overtime.
Okay, so they lost by 4 to Georgia State.
And 3.
So they're
7 points.
7 points away from being undefeated. That is insane to think about how bad that program is.
But
that goes back to what we just talked about earlier, though. Things come.
I mean, this is what's funny. They beat Bama 40-35, scored 40 points on Bama, and then they scored 20 against Kentucky. Kentucky has good defense, but then they beat Ball State 24-14
and struggled with it a little bit.
Yeah, but they got Texas. All right, last true or false for the college level. True or false? It is now Ashton Genty's Heisman to lose.
It has to be. Quinn Ewers did not play well against Georgia, and I think that cost him. Milroe, okay, they have 3 losses now. I mean, it's his. If he keeps doing what he's doing, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. They have UNLV this week. Who else? Who?
I think
Dillon Gabriel, maybe.
I think your only contenders right now would be Dillon Gabriel, Cam Ward possibly, and maybe Carson Beck at Georgia if they keep winning. Yeah. But if you think about
Travis
this,
Hunter's hurt, right?
Right. He got hurt. Yeah. Dillon Gabriel, he's leading an undefeated team, and he's been good. He's been really good, but not eye popping. Cam Ward's kept them undefeated, but at the same time, they should have a couple losses or a loss, and Carson Beck has a loss. If Carson Beck wins this, if Georgia wins out, and Genty keeps doing the same thing he's doing, then Genty's robbed.
Yes,
Carson Beck's a good player. Don't get me wrong; he's a very good player. But if Genty at this point, I would agree. If Genty, or however you pronounce his last name, I can't remember. If he keeps doing what he's doing,
how can you
not? If he doesn't win it, then you might as well, like I said earlier, you might as well just call it a quarterback award. Turn it into the Heisman Trophy for quarterbacks, or whatever you want to call it. The most outstanding quarterback in college football.
I mean, they have the Davey O'Brien Award. Great. Give that to Dillon Gabriel, and then give the Heisman, who's the most valuable player on his team, and it's not even close.
It's not close.
It is him. He's the guy, and he is doing things that we haven't seen in a long time.
They said he's on pace to break the single season record.
If he breaks it, he has to be a lock, right?
I don't think he even needs to break it. I don't think he does. If he just keeps doing it, if he averages almost 10 yards a carry, as many carries as he's had, again, we'll go back to this. It's not like he's rushed the ball 20 times and is averaging 10 yards a carry. He's rushed the ball over almost 200 times.
Yeah.
And he's averaging 9.9 yards a carry.
It's insane.
That is ridiculous. And I saw the memes of him being Michael Myers. That is hilarious.
Did
It
you
is
see that,
awesome.
buddy?
It
So
is
he just
awesome.
stands straight up
Straight
back
up.
there, and he's completely still.
It's just like
It's funny. Like whoever thought of that?
It's amazing.
Hilarious. But he's doing things we haven't seen. He has to win this thing. Please don't get hurt or anything like that. And I know they haven't played top level competition, but I don't think it matters at this point for what he's doing. I don't care who you play. You played Oregon. You ran for 192 yards.
It's whatever it is.
Done.
He's not playing like Cumberland University, who Georgia Tech beat 222 to nothing.
Right.
He's not playing that team. He's playing legitimate teams.
Yep.
Yes, they're not the best in the world. I don't care. I think he could. You put him with Georgia or Bama or any of those teams.
He could be better.
He could be better.
He could be better.
Even though he'd be playing better teams.
He would have better offensive lines.
He'd be better offensive lines.
And they have UNLV this Friday, who's not
awful. They're not awful. They've scored some points. All right, let's talk about some of the games coming up this week. We'll start with Notre Dame Navy. They're playing at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the Giants and Jets play. Navy comes in 6-0. Notre Dame has that loss in Northern Illinois, but they've played well since then. Navy, though, is throwing up 44 points a game.
Okay.
Which for the wingback, whatever, triple option, whatever you want to call it, is a lot of points. And actually, their quarterback has thrown for over 800 yards this year.
Okay. So,
which last time I checked is more than what Michigan's thrown for this year.
Is it really?
I don't know if it's true, but it might be close.
You have to combine your quarterbacks.
Yeah, combine the quarterbacks. Navy has a real shot in this game. They have Notre Dame as a 13.5 point favorite. I think that's nuts. I think that is absolutely nuts.
Would you take what do they have the over under 51.5? I see 51.5. Is that what you see?
I've switched over to the schedule, so I'm not looking at it.
I think 51.5 if my eyes are treating me right. I don't know. I think this goes a little under. I know Navy's been scoring some points, but Notre Dame's going to be the best team they've seen all year.
True. I mean, they played Memphis. They beat them 56-44. They did a bunch of points, but they still scored 56. I mean, they've scored 49, 38, 56, 41, 34, 51. Now, granted, it's not against a team like Notre Dame, but again, it's a weird offense. And this is the quarterback stats right now. 46 for 72 for 888 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Dear Lord.
So they're sneaking up on you, and they're throwing the ball when you're not expecting it.
They're making big plays, too. Big plays. I think Navy can run their offense. I don't think they're going to break away and get big gains against the Notre Dame defense, but they can just chuck down the field 4, 5, 6 yards at a time, like the old wishbone offenses did, and just wear Notre Dame down and keep Notre Dame's offense off the field. This thing could be low scoring. Navy can win this game. I don't think they do. I think Notre Dame's going to win, but I don't think Notre Dame covers the 13.
I think Notre Dame wins. I mean, sorry, Navy. Okay. I'm looking at something else there for a second.
You're going with the upset.
Notre Dame wins.
Okay.
No, I said it again.
No,
I gotta quit looking at other scores. I'm trying to multitask here. Navy wins this game. Okay. No, like Notre Dame, I don't trust the midshipmen. Yeah, ship with a P. I don't think Notre Dame can stop them.
No, I agree with you as well.
And do you trust Riley Leonard to win a game?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Done. Navy wins.
If Notre Dame gets down by 10 or more points, I think Navy can run this ball and kill the clock and win this game on there. I don't think they have enough to do it. I think Notre Dame comes out and punches them in the mouth early, and Navy doesn't have enough firepower on offense to get down. Because you know as well as I do, that offense probably isn't built to come back from 10, 14 points down.
Trey,
I think that's what happens.
Navy wins.
Okay.
Navy wins.
You got Navy. I got Notre Dame.
All right, you take Notre Dame,
but they don't cover though. So I'm saying it's closer than that.
All right. What else we got going on? Missouri to Alabama.
Interesting one there.
What do you think?
Missouri's a fun story, right? They played Vandy tough and they actually beat them. Bama lost to Vandy. I don't know. I just don't think Missouri has enough. It's in Tuscaloosa. I think Bama bounces back. Bama bounces back and takes this one.
I would tend to agree. Missouri Auburn blew another game. Missouri beat Auburn. Auburn should have beat Oklahoma. Auburn should have beat Missouri. Missouri won that game. But Missouri also got waxed by Texas A&M.
Missouri's luck's not out.
Listen, Missouri was that maybe feel-good story for the SEC at the very beginning of the year. We thought they were going to be good. We thought one of these SEC schools was going to break through. We didn't think it'd be Vanderbilt. I would agree. I think Missouri can win this game, but if Bama doesn't win this game,
they're done.
They're done. They're done. And I think fans are going to be like, are we sure we should have kept or they don't fire him, but you know what I'm saying? I would agree. But if he loses again, and that's 3 out of 4 and 4 they probably should have lost, I think Bama wins this game, but I think Missouri keeps this close.
What do you got first, Brett? 16.5 or so?
It says 16.5, over under 51.5. Missouri's not scoring a lot of points, and they're not giving up a ton. Well, they did give up a ton to Texas A&M. I don't know. I don't know what to make of Alabama because they can score some points, but they're giving up points. I would take the over in this game, and I would say Missouri covers.
Okay.
But I think Bama wins.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Bama wins, but I don't think they blow them out.
Yeah.
By any means, and it's closer than people think. I think it's a decent game. That was
All right, Texas goes to Vanderbilt.
Ooh, remember the last time somebody high ranking went to Vanderbilt? And that's Nick Saban said that's the easiest place to play in the SEC.
I would have to look this up, but I'm going to bet that Texas hasn't played at Vanderbilt before.
Boy, I'd be surprised.
I would be shocked if they did.
Yeah. That place is going to be popping.
They have Texas as an 18.5 point favorite. If Vanderbilt wins this game, they're losing. They're gonna have to buy new goalposts again.
Yeah, Sark might be fired too. No, maybe not.
Vanderbilt has already carried the goalpost down Main Street and through in the river once. I mean, if they beat Texas, they will do it again.
And I hope they do.
It'd be amazing.
I hope they do.
Now you 100% do because I mean you hate Texas. It's like I hope Ohio State loses to everybody they play. You hope Texas loses to everybody they play, unless it directly helps you win the conference, which it's not happening.
That's not happening this year.
So I don't think Vanderbilt wins this game. I think Texas is better than Alabama.
Well, Texas is coming off a loss too.
Yeah,
and I think they're going to be out to prove something to a very chippy Vanderbilt team. I think it's fun for a little bit, and then I think Texas finally says, "Listen, we've had enough. Let's go." Texas's defense is better than Bama's too.
Vanderbilt's not going to be scared.
No,
but at the same time, Bama came off a win against Georgia where they looked really good, and nobody thought Vanderbilt was any good, and they had a letdown. Texas is not good. This is the exact opposite. Texas is coming off a loss to Georgia. It's funny that they're playing them right after Georgia both teams. And Vanderbilt's not sneaking up on anybody now.
No,
Texas takes care of business. I think Vanderbilt kind of keeps us close.
I think it's fun for a half.
Yeah, but I think Texas wins 18.5. I don't know.
That's a lot. I mean, you're talking almost 20 points there. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say Texas covers. I think that Texas defense is way better than Bama's, and I think Vanderbilt hasn't seen it, and they're going to be in trouble. I think they keep it fun for a half, and the Texans forget about it.
Let's stay in the SEC. LSU goes to Texas A&M. Two teams we're not quite sure if they're any good. Really, LSU's ranked number 8. Texas A&M's 14. They're both 6-1. LSU is coming off a overtime win over Ole Miss. Texas A&M has looked better. They couldn't do anything on offense when they played Notre Dame earlier this year, and then they dropped 41 on Missouri. They're playing better, but are they really that good?
See that these are two teams that need to be playing each other, so we can kind of figure out who's who here. So I like this matchup. I think this is a really good game. I'm going to just pick Texas A&M because they've been playing much better, and I'm not convinced LSU's as good as their record, and it's at home for Texas A&M. It's in College Station.
I don't think LSU – I still am not sold on LSU. But I'm not necessarily –
you don't like their coach either.
I don't either like their coach. I'm not really sold on Texas A&M either. So, that part of it, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I don't know. Texas A&M's 2.5-point favorite, but it's at Texas A&M, so it's basically a pick 'em.
It's a home field.
I'm going to take Texas A&M because it's at Texas A&M. If it was at LSU, I might flip.
Yep, 100%.
Penn State goes to Wisconsin. Penn State should have lost their last game.
Penn State might have.
I think they're coming off a bye. They should have lost to USC. They really should have lost to USC. At USC, Wisconsin all of a sudden is playing well.
Wisconsin's sneaky, and you got to go to Camp Randall. That's not easy, right?
I mean, Bama whipped Wisconsin at Wisconsin.
Does that jump around?
Yes. Yeah, that's really cool. But Penn State is just doing Penn State is doing Penn State things, but winning the games now.
Correct.
Because they used to. If they messed around and did this in other games, they would find a way to lose them. They would James Franklin. Yep. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing that yet until they play with Ohio State. I don't know when they play them. I think a couple weeks. I think Wisconsin gives the game. Penn State's a 6.5-point favorite.
I like Penn State. I think Wisconsin jumps out early, like everybody has done against Penn State. Bowling Green did it. USC did it. Like people just jumping out on Penn State. Everybody in Penn State settles down, comes out. Drew Aller's playing better, and they have running backs, and they have a solid defense. Wisconsin jumps out early, and we go, here we go again, the Penn State win. Penn State wins.
I picked Penn State also. Illinois goes to Oregon. Illinois is ranked 20. They coming off a big win against Michigan. Listen, Illinois is just winning. They're just finding ways to win. They don't look fancy.
Yep.
Did you speaking of, I'm just going to go off track. Did you see their helmets from last week?
Yes, I did.
Did you like them?
No, I don't know.
They almost looked real. I mean, they looked like they're old, the leather.
They're
hand painted. That's kind of cool.
It just kind of looked funny out there, but I like the idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
They held Michigan, but it's going to be interesting. Can they hold Oregon down? Oregon did not have a letdown last week. They beat Purdue 35-0 after beating Ohio State. Now, I'm not trying to say Purdue's a good team, but going to Purdue has been known to upset some teams. It didn't happen. It wasn't close. They have Oregon as a 21.5 point favorite. I think that's high. That's high. Illinois, I don't think is a great team, but they're good enough to keep Oregon down a little bit. Illinois struggled against the run a little bit, but they did better against Michigan. I think Oregon wins this game, but I don't think it's by 21.
No, they're not gonna cover the point spread. Illinois is a nice story. Their only losses to Penn State, it was 21-7, so it wasn't that bad. I think Illinois has a pretty solid defense. Problem is, it's in Eugene, and it's hard to go up there and deal with that. And Illinois is going to keep it close because of their defense.
Mm-hmm.
But Oregon wins, and they are not going to cover. Oregon win by like 17.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think Oregon wins this game fairly easy. I just don't think that
Illinois just doesn't have enough firepower on offense. They're really going to have to slow this game down.
I would agree 100%. All right, you're Oklahoma. We'll go with our teams. We'll finish our teams. There's a couple other decent games, but we'll go with your team. Oklahoma goes to Ole Miss. Oklahoma, I know they're your team. They have not looked good the last 2 weeks. Now, granted, it was against Texas, but the other one was against South Carolina. I think the two games they've been outscored 69-12.
Probably something like that. The offense is awful. I mean,
they're going back to Jackson Arnold.
Which, okay, I think that's probably the right move, maybe to keep him from transferring, and the other quarterback just making freshman mistakes. If they can get some wide receivers back, that will help. But right now, with that offensive line as bad as it is, no running game, and the quarterback has no time back there.
Yeah.
He's running around for his life, throwing making bad decisions because he's running around. Oklahoma cannot score enough points. I think they hold Ole Miss down to 24 points, but I think, again, they score 6 points. I want to pick them. I'm rooting for them. I'm going to watch the game, but Ole Miss can score too many points, and 20 points right now is too many for Oklahoma to make up.
I think that's probably true. I think Ole Miss is exactly where I thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. Good, but not great. I wish I called. We've said this. I wish I called this my playoff picks as well as I called this.
Right.
I said Ole Miss needs to prove it, and they haven't. Overall, they're 5-2. They're good. They whipped up on bad teams, and the offense has come back down to earth against good teams. I think Oklahoma can hold them down. I do. I think they can hold them. I mean, but the problem is, I think they would have to hold Ole Miss to under 10 points, and they're not going to do that. I would agree. I think they can hold Ole Miss to under 28, 24, 21. I think, but at the same time, they're going to lose 21-10 or 21-6 or 21-7.
Right.
The same way Michigan lost to Illinois last week. So I think Oklahoma can keep it close and be in the game, but I don't think they can win the game.
Right.
I mean, they can win the game, but I don't think they will win the game.
Like that, when South Carolina scored those 3 touchdowns in the first 5 minutes off the turnovers, I knew the game was over. I knew it was over because Oklahoma's offense cannot come back. And then the defense cannot hold them down to 0 for the rest of the freaking game.
All right, Michigan State and Michigan, it's a rivalry game. I know it's probably not on the books for most people, but I got to talk about them a little bit because it's Michigan. They still have Michigan a 3.5 point favorite. I have no idea who they're going to start at quarterback. It is at home. It is a night game, but this just tells you how far the teams have fallen right now. It's a night game. It's Michigan State, Michigan, and it's being televised on Big Ten Network.
Big Ten Network. That's not a prime spot.
I mean, the Big Ten Network makes a lot of money for their schools.
They do.
But it's not an ABC, CBS, Fox, whatever it is.
Michigan
State all of a sudden looked decent last week, beating Iowa. I went from Michigan can't lose to Michigan State to now being it's a very real. Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Are you concerned with anybody Oklahoma plays right now?
Other than Maine, yes.
Yes, because their offense isn't doing anything. If Michigan can just establish a run and actually, I don't know, stick with it. We talked about this. It's like the offensive coordinators think they try and be too cute and we have to to pass the ball.
Well, they get pressure to throw the ball all of a sudden. And Jim Harbaugh last year was like, I don't care what's working. We're going to go with it. And running the ball was working. And, J.J. McCarthy threw 12 passes one time. No. So who are you picking?
I think Michigan does win this game, but it could be like 17-14, and I'm sweating.
Yeah, it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be closer than you want it to be. I agree with you, though. Michigan's at home. They're going to figure it out. That defense is still pretty good. Is Will Johnson back?
He's injured.
If he's still injured, is he pulling a Devontae Adams?
I hope he's not. I hope he's not.
Traded?
Somebody said, is Will Johnson making a business decision?
Yeah.
He might be.
Yeah, he might be.
And I hate that, but I
hate it.
I can't necessarily blame him, but I hate it. So I don't know.
Not that he's going to make the difference in this game, but I think you're right. This game is closer than you want it to be. But I do think Michigan, that defense is going to keep them. I think Michigan State can score that many points. And I know Michigan's not scoring a lot, but they can score more than Michigan State in this one. It's a low-scoring game, but
yeah,
I think Michigan wins.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Not next week. Michigan plays Oregon next week. It is at Michigan, but All right, we could keep talking about college football forever, but let's switch over to the NFL here a little bit. All right, let's do a little true or false of the NFL. True or false, the Lions are the Super Bowl favorite.
Super Bowl favorite?
I know who you're going to say, but I'm going to present this question.
Okay. I'm going to say Minnesota was better than I thought.
Okay.
Or at least played better. I watched some of that game. We went out with some friends, and he's a Lions fan, so we watched that game. Minnesota did better than I thought they were. I thought the Lions would maybe blow them out a little bit, but Minnesota might be the real deal. So I'm going to say yes, the Lions are the favorite right now because Minnesota is better than I expected it to be. Minnesota's a real deal, I think.
Okay, by the way, I didn't say for the NFC. I said for the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I'm saying
okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Super Bowl, yes. Super Bowl. To make it or win it?
Win it.
Oh, God, yes. I'm going to go with it.
I
like the Lions a lot.
I think the Lions have shown about as much as anybody. They put it over. I can't remember how many games it's been, but the Lions have scored more touchdowns, I think, in the last 3 games than Jared Goff has thrown in completions.
That's insane.
18-15. Think about that.
That's
granted,
crazy.
one game Jared Goff did not throw an incompletion against the Rams.
Yep.
Seahawks.
That helps. That helps when you don't throw an incompletion. So you're saying the Lions Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I think so too. Like I didn't think the Vikings were legit yet. I knew they were better than we thought, but they played right with the Lions, and so now that makes me think the Vikings are really good. Now Aiden Hutchinson being out, obviously,
but the Lions still won the game.
They still pulled it off, and they did what they had to do. So I like the Lions a lot right now. I really do.
True or false? It's not going to happen, but Jerry Jones should fire himself for not signing Derrick Henry.
Yeah, or find himself something. Find yourself something. Do something. What are you trying to do there?
Supposedly, and I heard, then this is just straight from ESPN Radio. I don't know if it was really true. Derrick Henry wanted to sign with the Cowboys.
Which that would surprise me too. Maybe is he just a Cowboy fan, wants to go out as
I don't know.
Cowboy?
Wanted to sign, but people thought, well, he's not very good now. Well, I mean, look who his quarterback was last year in Tennessee, Will Levis.
Correct.
Derrick Henry he's on pace to break the single season NFL rushing record.
Yeah, he's not done.
He's not done.
He's not done at all.
And all of a sudden with the Ravens, he looks like a monster.
And the Ravens are going to be tough to beat now because and the Ravens are good. And the Cowboys, if that's true, you wanted to go to the Cowboys. Wow, that's bad choice, bad decision. No wonder the Cowboys are awful.
Instead, they stuck with Zeke and Rico Dowdle.
Who, and then B, you want to talk about running backs that are done. Zeke's done.
Yeah.
He's done. He's been done for a couple of years.
True or false, all the NFC North teams should make the playoffs.
Boy, they are good, aren't they? They're really good. That whole NFC North is really good.
The Bears are 4-2 and in last place.
Yeah, tell me a team in that division that could place in another division. They would be one of the top 2 teams in it. Every single one of those teams could go into every division and be one of the top 2 teams all day long.
I'm thinking about this right now. We're going to find out real quick. The Bears play the Commanders this week, right?
All right.
In the NFC East, you get the Commanders and maybe the Eagles. The Eagles looked a little bit better. Would Minnesota win the division?
Oh, yeah.
With the Lions.
Yep.
Packers?
Yep.
Bears.
Yes.
Well, no. If the Bears especially if the Bears beat the Commanders. The NFC South is a mess. All those teams win that division, right?
Yep.
Okay. NFC West. with McCaffrey and them hurt.
With the Niners the way they are right now,
Who's better in that division than any of those teams?
Seattle's leading that division right now. So come
Right,
on now.
right. That's what I'm saying.
They are the best. That's the 4 best teams in the whole entire NFC right now.
And the Bears get their chance to prove it because they're playing the Commanders. Now Jaden Daniels may be out, but they play the Commanders next. If they beat the Commanders, which all of a sudden we're like, oh, the Commanders. But if they beat the Commanders, who else? Who else? Right now, if the playoffs started right now, all 4 teams would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they're all.
I mean, the Bucs have looked good at times, but then Baker went back to Baker for a quarter against the Ravens.
Godwin's out.
Godwin, man, I hate that. Did you see his ankle?
Oh,
and Evans out.
So good luck.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Do you trust the Falcons?
Nope, I don't trust the Falcons.
Do you trust the Seahawks?
Oh, absolutely not.
Do you really trust the Eagles?
No.
And we saw what the Lions did to the Cowboys.
Okay, then. That NFC East. Nobody makes the playoffs in the NFC East. And then the Norris division gets all 4 in.
Well, the East has to because you have to have the division
have
winner.
But nobody should.
But I mean, really what that would do is it would be the NFC East winner, the South winner, and the West winner, and then everybody in the North.
Else. That would,
I mean, right now proving it. I mean, when your worst team is the Bears, and again, the Bears have won against not bad teams, but they're still 4-2. They're still 4-2. And if Caleb Williams has figured this out,
they're playing better. The Bears are starting to play like you thought they might.
Right.
They're starting to figure that out.
And thankfully they figured out early in the season as opposed to like halfway through the season.
Being 1-8.
Yeah.
So now we're going to win 5 games in a row. Yeah. No, I hear you exactly. No, that NFC North division is ridiculous.
All right, true or false? The Steelers are surprising you this year.
Tell me they're not surprising you because
they are 100% surprising.
With that schedule that we looked at that they had, they should have maybe one win.
We told you. We talked about this at the very beginning. We said they have to win early because the back end of their schedule is horrible. I mean, it's rough. Now, the Browns are awful. Well, they might be better now, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the back end of that schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
But they've won.
They're 5-2.
Dude, Mike Tomlin, lifetime contract.
Yeah. Retire when you want to.
Mike Tomlin, if right now, if Mike Tomlin went to an organization and said, I'm leaving the Steelers to come here, who says no? Which organization says no?
Chiefs, maybe.
Yeah, I respect Andy Reid.
Is that it? Like who? What other coach is out there that is on that level?
I mean, I could tell you teams that might not want to because of like like their coach,
like the Lions,
and the Packers, maybe,
right,
and maybe the 49ers with Shanahan, maybe.
Maybe.
But if Tomlin walked in right now with the Bears and said, I want to take your team over,
please,
where do I sign?
Please,
here's a blank check, sign your name, or fill in whatever you want.
Raiders, 100%.
Yeah,
please take them.
Yes,
I think
maybe the Ravens, don't because they like Harbaugh. Okay, but who else?
2 to 3 teams.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Everybody else, he's figured something out. Which I trust whatever he says. I don't like the Steelers, but you know what? He hasn't. I don't think he's had a losing season
ever.
Well, with the Steelers, I don't think he's going to coach anywhere else.
The fact that they lost to the Cowboys is kind of surprising. Like that was a game that they
true.
True. They could be 6-1.
Yeah,
pretty easy.
Yeah.
No, they're doing.
But you're gonna have games like that, you know.
Like who do they have? Like they don't have a lot of big name guys out there.
Oh, Najee all of a sudden looks like a real running back.
Ridiculous.
And the defense is playing well. Yeah. If you put that defense right now, if you put the Steelers defense right now with the Ravens offense or the Lions offense, that is the clear cut. That would be an undefeated team.
Yeah, you're not beating that team. I don't care. You can't say the Chiefs aren't beating them.
No.
Mike Tomlin's got to figure it out. He's got something.
I don't know what he does.
He's got culture.
Did you see him call a timeout? Well, I don't know if you watched the game. Aaron Rodgers tried to get a 12-man on the field, so he tried to snap it quick, and Tomlin called timeout before he could do it.
Nice.
He just winked. And I winked.
Oh, did he really?
He get that nod to Rodgers. It's just like
good try.
Good try.
No,
all right,
Mike Tomlin's awesome.
All right, true or false? The AFC West. The what was the other one? The AFC East, and there was one more that I was thinking of.
South.
No, the South. Oh yeah, and the AFC South are all wrapped up already. That would be the Chiefs winning, the Bills winning, and the Texans winning.
I mean, it's hard to say no. It's hard to say no to that, but the Chiefs are going to win the West. The East is bad.
Especially with the Dolphins dropping off.
The Dolphins are out, the Jets and the Patriots are bad, so Buffalo has that wrapped up. Yeah, the North is the only competitive division. That's true.
Well, the North and the what? Yeah, because I mean the Texans. What are the Colts? The Colts are they one game or
4-3.
okay? So they're 2 games
5-2,
back.
So
Or no,
there's a
the
little,
Texans
yeah.
lost, so they're 5-2.
So I mean,
But I
I
don't.
don't trust the Colts
No.
to pull this off. Yeah, the AFC North is the only division right now in the AFC that has a couple of teams that you could talk about. And I don't even know if I trust the Bengals that much.
All right, last one for this, and then we'll talk about a couple games. True or false? The Colts are showing that they really don't care about winning by starting Anthony Richardson over Joe Flacco.
100%. What is happening? What are you doing? They don't care. Are they
I mean, you have to be like we're playing towards the future, right? But look what Joe Flacco did. Like I know they lost at Jacksonville, and that was a bad loss. But Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson.
And it's not really.
It's not close.
It's not even an argument now. But are they trying to really build for the future, or are they just saying, "Listen, we're going to put Anthony Richardson out there to prove"?
Are they so bullheaded that they're like, we're not wrong?
Well, that might be true too. If we put Flacco in, we admit that.
I mean, if Joe Flacco would have been playing with the Bears and playing as well as he was, and then Justin Fields came back, and all of a sudden they threw Justin Fields back out there, I'd be a little upset as a Bears fan.
Yeah, 100%. They might be just stubborn and saying, "Listen, we're not giving up on this guy. This was our guy. He's going to get it done." I'd be a little frustrated if I was Joe Flacco. Like, what do I have to do?
All right, last one, and I know I said the last one. True or false? And I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right? No.
Not rooting for anybody to get hurt ever. I don't care how crappy of a person they are, what they seem to be. I'm not looking. But the Browns are better off that Deshaun Watson's hurt.
Yes, they are. They are. It doesn't matter who they put in there, but Deshaun Watson was not the answer. And the only way they're going to take him out is if he can't actually physically play.
Which he ripped his. Is that one? Some of the no Godwin's ankle was, but watching an Achilles pop is just painful. It looks painful
because you try to imagine that yourself, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, because everybody's like twisted an ankle or had some sort of injuries down there, and then just imagine that thing happen. Like, have you ever seen a bicep tear or anything like that? Oh, it just makes you go, oh my gosh.
All right. Let's just talk about a couple games here. We'll talk about it real quick. The Bears played the Commanders. If Jaden Daniels doesn't play, I think the Bears win this easy. Not easy, but I think the Bears win this.
Easier.
If Jaden Daniels plays, it's very interesting because it's in Washington. But then again, is Washington really a home field advantage?
Not right now.
I mean, it's a crappy home field.
Not good.
I like the Bears. I like the way the Bears are playing. The Commanders have kind of beaten up on teams that aren't great. I like the Bears in this game. The Bears are 3-point favorite. If Daniels is out, the Bears are going to win this game by double digits.
Yeah, if Daniels can't play, we know what the Commanders are without him, and the Bears win for sure. I think even if Daniels plays, I think the Bears are starting to put things together. I really do. I like what they're doing. They're coming around. Caleb Williams is playing better. That defense is really good. I think Jaden Daniels plays. I think the Bears still win.
Yeah, I think the Bears are playing well. I like him. It was weird to have an off week last week with the Bears and be disappointed with the way they've been playing. Normally it's like, well, they didn't lose this week, so that's good. All right, Eagles go to the Bengals. Bengals, they still have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. The Eagles all of a sudden are 4-2 and playing a little bit better, but they've leaned more on Saquon.
This is such a tough one because which bipolar part of both of these teams are going to show up? Is it the Bengals with the juggernaut offense that can do no wrong, or is it the Eagles that literally can do no wrong, or is it both teams who all of a sudden can't do anything right? Like, which team shows up? I'm just going to go with the home team on this one. Bengals are going to win this one. I still don't trust the Eagles. I know they're a little bit better than they've been, but I think the Bengals win this one because they're at home. Because it's like their time to put it together for the 1 week.
Yeah, for the 1 week. Yeah, if I had to put money, I'm putting money on the Bengals because it's in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I like them better. I don't trust the Eagles to really do anything. Yeah.
Cincinnati puts it together every now and again, and when they do, they look good.
They look really good.
It's their time.
All right, let's see what else we got going on here. We have oh my gosh, it's not good. Falcons and Bucks. What do you think?
Boy, without Godwin, without Evans, Baker Mayfield, he doesn't have the weapons out there. Those two guys are kind of a big deal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Falcons are good enough to win this game. I like Baker Mayfield. I kind of like the Bucks, and I want to cheer for him, but too many guys hurt. Falcons win this.
Yeah, too many. I think the receivers are just going to be too much, and Baker's played well at times, but again, he went back to Baker for a couple stretch in the Ravens. Now the Ravens had a lot to do with it, but a couple of passes were really bad. The game did kind of change. He threw a touchdown pass that would have put him up 14-0, but they got a holding penalty and then they had a kick field goal, so it ended up only 10-0. But Baker, as good as he's been, he's still prone to.
And without weapons out
stuff.
there, I think he starts forcing things a little bit too much and trying to make stuff happen, and it doesn't go his way.
All right, let's see what we got going on. We got the Cowboys and 49ers. We thought this was going to be a good game for Sunday night. Oh, my gosh. The 49ers are still a 4-point favorite. They're 3-3 versus 3-4.
Who would have thought that,
Yeah.
I mean, can the Cowboys put a game together and beat the Niners? I'm going to say no. I think the Cowboys are kind of a mess, and they just kind of fool around and win games. But I think the Niners, for what they have, are just put together better than the Cowboys for one, who's not injured right now.
Listen, I'm just looking through the rest of these games. There's not a lot of great games on the schedule. I mean, the Chiefs
Raiders.
The Chiefs Raiders. The Chiefs
the
are
Raiders.
10-point favorites in Las Vegas.
Hey,
that is a monster line in the NFL. That is a monster line in the NFL.
No Devontae Adams anymore for the Raiders because he was
all of a sudden he's healthy.
hurt. No, right. You like that? Oh,
Yeah.
you traded the Jets. I'm good.
By the way, he was traded to the Jets, and magically, like 5 minutes later, he was in Aaron Rodgers' house.
Right. That was been in the works for quite some time. I knew that was coming. Listen, the Raiders always, maybe they already did it this year when they beat the Ravens, but they always have a surprise game where they beat someone they shouldn't. I feel like they get the Chiefs at least once a year, once every other year. I think this is the game the Raiders are going to get. The Raiders are going to put together a game, and the Raiders break the unbeaten streak for the Chiefs.
Okay.
Go with it.
So Aiden O'Connell's out. Gardner Minshew is leading the league in turnovers, which guess what? I told you so.
Shocking.
And you signed Desmond Ridder off of the Cardinals practice squad.
Something like that.
Desmond Ridder.
Raiders. Hey, he played at Cincinnati.
He did play at
They
Cincinnati.
had a good team.
He did. He did play well at Cincinnati.
They had a good team.
He did not play well with the Falcons.
The Raiders are going to put it together.
Do you really believe that?
No, but and I kind of don't want them to at this point. Like, let's lose.
We talked about this.
Let's lose.
Let's lose for Ewers.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take Quinn Ewers, I think.
I know Quinn Ewers looked a little lost against Georgia.
He's still a college quarterback.
But I think he's a top pick. He's got to be the top pick.
Georgia has NFL guys over on that side of the ball. So I think the Raiders lose out. Hopefully the Panthers can lose another one somewhere.
You mean win another one?
Or win another one. Yeah, no, I don't want the Panthers to lose anymore. Maybe get the Raiders a top pick, maybe. That's
because the Panthers have beat the Raiders. So if the Panthers win and the Raiders lose out, Raiders have it.
Right, exactly. So do I think they can win? No. They always surprise me, and you're right. This probably isn't the week they're going to do that.
Let's see what the Raiders have just the rest of the year.
The Raiders always surprise me when they beat the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens.
I know. That was the surprise for them.
Was it in Baltimore too?
Might have been.
They won at Baltimore. Of course they did.
Of course.
This is the rest of their schedule. Home against Kansas City, that's a loss. At Cincinnati, that's tough.
Oh, that's winnable.
At Miami, that's very winnable. Denver, they're playing better. They already got their ass kicked by Denver. Kansas City, again. Tampa at Tampa.
That might be winnable.
Home against Atlanta. Now here's your chance to win games. At home against Jacksonville.
Yes.
On the road against the Saints, depending if Derek Carr's back or not. And then the Chargers at home. You could lose all those games.
Could win 3 of those games and end up having the 6th overall pick again. And we're picking offensive linemen from Kennesaw State because somebody thought he ran a good 40 time.
Or Leatherwood from Alabama.
What are we doing with that?
It's amazing how many guys that the Raiders have either lost to arrest or traded or
just awful pick.
number one picks.
Just a bad pick.
So bad. Listen, I'm really excited for the college football slate this week. I'm not so excited for the NFL slate. My fantasy team needs to do better. My one league, I've lost 3 in a row. But the other league, you and I are tied with a bunch of teams for first place.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I did just lose this week, but I still have a winning record in both leagues, which is good for me.
I don't know how you have a winning record in our league. I don't know what you were doing. Did you pay attention, Art? Like you played Jonathan Taylor and he was out.
I missed it because I usually go over my fantasy.
Do you?
I missed that sometimes. I don't think it would have mattered anyway. I lost.
Listen, I scored 67 points last week. I picked up Smith-Schuster And I thought, hey, he's going to have a good game with the Chiefs. 7 snaps, he's out for the game.
Dang.
Cool. Thank
It was
you.
your
That's
fault.
awesome. That's awesome.
Oh man, yeah, the college slate will be good. I mean, Texas Vandy sounds interesting because the way Vandy's been playing and stuff like that. I mean, Ohio State, Nebraska. We didn't really talk about that as someone who hates Nebraska football. I'll cheer for the other sports, but Nebraska fan thinks they have a chance. They really do.
Did they watch the Indiana game?
They believe the Husker fans putting the Indiana Hoosiers on the pedestal like that's like a playoff team right now, and I'm like, apparently you're buying into it too. But Husker fan believes Indiana's that much better.
I think Indiana is that much better, but
Than Nebraska, yes.
Nebraska, but not Ohio State.
Right.
No, don't get me wrong. I hope Nebraska wins this game.
I know you do. I can't.
But listen, got Navy, Notre Dame. That should be a fun game to watch. Missouri, Alabama is interesting. LSU, Texas A&M. Yep. Obviously, you're hoping Oklahoma's can snap out of it. I have the rivalry week with Michigan State, a night game. Those are always fun as long as we win. But we've had sometimes when it hasn't been. So college slate, we're really excited for. NFL slate, but that means it'll probably be crazy.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah. It'll be awesome. But either way, it's
football.
It's football. It's 2 games of football. And I know we talk football, but your Yankees start the World Series on Friday.
Yes.
Let's do this real quick. I know it's a football podcast, but what's your prediction for the World Series? It starts. We're taping this on a Wednesday. It starts in 2 days.
So the Yankees have Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton has been on fire, killing the ball. Juan Soto's been hitting the ball. Gleyber Torres has been doing pretty well. Judges his usual strikeout 4 times, and then he'll hit a random home run here or there. So I'm not counting on him. But the pitching has been a little bit better. But man, the Dodgers are loaded. I like my Yankees at home, but I like the Dodgers when they go to their home. I think this thing's going to come down to 7, and I believe the Dodgers would have the home field. So somebody's going to have to win. If the Yankees are going to have to take one at Dodger Stadium to win this thing. It's going to be a battle, though. I was kind of hoping the Mets would win because I felt like the Yankees had a better chance against them.
I think Yankees had a better chance against the Mets. I hate this World Series because I do not like either team. I think the Dodgers have the better lineup up and down.
Up and down, top to bottom.
So if they get hidden, it's tough to stop. I mean, if Ohtani's hot, Betts. If Freeman can get back healthy.
Yeah, he's moving a little bit.
But then again, it depends. Can your big bot Soto's going to hit, but can Stanton and Judge hit enough?
Stan keeps it up. He's been really on fire lately.
Yeah.
But Judge, here's the problem: if Stan's hot, you got to have Judge hot too, because otherwise, they're not. Judge right now doesn't scare anybody. In his playoff history, he's not the best playoff hitter of all time. Great in the regular season,
amazing in the regular
season. Playoffs, he struggles. So Stan's killing right now. That'll help, but you got to help your boy out. Judge.
Yep. All right, that starts on Friday, get games Friday, Saturday, and then they go up Monday night against the Monday Night Football games.
Ooh, yeah.
So a lot of you know what, it's going to be fun. This weekend's going to be fun. You got baseball, you got football, the NHL started, the NBA. For those people that like that, we don't. But for those people, college basketball starting up soon. Michigan plays Oklahoma in college basketball this year. All right. But anyways, it's a great time of the year. We're almost turning into November, which means Halloween's coming up. Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving. We got all that coming up. Means we're getting towards the end of the year, which sucks for the end of the football year, but it's great football.
Correct.
And we are here for all of it. So we'll come back next week. We'll talk about hopefully a great weekend. Until next time, I'm Adam.
I'm Tony. Thanks for listening.